Well, today's the 29th of January, it's a Wednesday, and this is a poster I made up last night. I plan to take this to Burwood Park today, just to stand around peacefully and point out to people that the Liberal Party are trying to put in a cash ban. The poster says, Liberal Party policy, send you to jail for 2 years for spending your own cash. Ask Fiona about it while you are here. Fiona in this case is Fiona Martin, who's the Liberal elected representative for Reid, which is where I am. So I'll take this along with me and stand around and hand out copies of the Citizens Party flyers which talk about the Liberals Party's plans to ban cash. Let's see how we go. Well, here we are in Burwood Park, Burwood, corner of Burwood Roads and Park Avenue. It's about 10 o'clock. Just waiting for the arrival of Fiona and the team. It appears to be them down there. Oh look, they're carrying a corflute sign. What a coincidence, so am I. I'll just wait to see where they park themselves, and I might just rock up and say hello. And just put my sign on display at the same time. Here I am in a public place, filming a public figure who's made a public invitation to a public event to members of the public.
How many people voice an issue? For example, if I have 110,000 electors, which is approximately the number of people that vote in Reid, and I get one person who brings about an issue, that is not the majority of people in Reid.
Well, that's not the issue though. Do you support the bill?
Well, my job is to represent the people of Reid, David.
Well, you also vote along party lines. So let me just cast your mind back to the 2012 election when Tony Abbott was campaigning. I think that's around about then. Craig Laundy, your predecessor, was elected on the policies that Tony Abbott published at the time. However, after Craig Laundy was elected, he turned around and said, I don't support those policies. So, in my personal opinion, he was elected on false pretenses. I'm not implying in any way that you are doing the same thing. What I'm trying to determine here is whether in fact you support the bill. Do you agree with what the bill is trying to do, the aims of the bill, which is to stop people from using their own cash to buy things for the value of $10,000 and over?
David, I would think that if you have concerns regarding the bill that you should write to the Minister.
Well, I have, with all due respect, I've tried to talk to you through email, Facebook.
And I most definitely can forward your concerns.
And I'm talking to you now, but I'm not getting an answer.
Which I think we may have done, in fact, in the past. I'm not sure, but I will most definitely make sure that if you've written to me on the 22nd of January, that we respond to you.
Okay, well, you know, for your information, now I don't represent this party.
We get inundated with emails, by the way,
I understand
on a number of issues.
Yep.
At the moment, and if you've tried to email through December to the January, the issue is following the bushfires, we've had about an influx of, it's just a significant number of emails regarding that. So right now, it's a matter of trying to sort through that.
My issue is with the cash ban bill. Now, for your information, this is an information document put together by a party. I'm not representing that party. I have no affiliations with them. This just happens to be publicly available information on the internet that the Citizens Party put together. It's quite a good summary of what the cash ban bill is about, what it's supposed to be based on, and what it's really based on.
Okay.
Our main concern is, number one, it takes away civil liberties. Today, I can set my own cash on what I want to do without any penalty and without any interference from the government. Under the cash ban bill, I'll be forced to use the banks. There's a number of issues with that. Okay. Countries where cash bans have been introduced, ostensibly the bill's been put together to stop the black economy, right? Reduce tax evasion. But you'll find there's no correlation between having a cash ban bill in countries that have them and stopping the black market or cash evading tax, right? So the black market economy report, the main reason it recommended a cash ban was because it would crack down on the black economy. There's no proof that that will happen. At the public hearing in December, you may recall that the Senate's having a public hearing. By the way, they only told the public about it on 5:30 the night before. The RBA, the Treasury, the ATO couldn't come up with any data or evidence whatsoever to support the need for a cash ban. So the whole thing is based on a false premise and anecdotal evidence that Treasury apparently collected through town halls and community meetings. Is that good enough to take away people's civil liberties?
Okay, Deb, well, I'm noting this and noting your concerns. and I will most definitely forward, if you've written to us formally, which I'm assuming you've done, or is it an email?
Oh,
or
well,
is
I've
it
sent an email and a
written
direct message through Facebook.
letter? Okay, Facebook isn't really a formal letter, but it is certainly, we get the correspondence, I get the feedback back, but it's not a formal way of writing to us. So an email or a written letter would be better, and I will then forward your concerns to the relevant minister.
Okay, who is the relevant minister in this case?
Well, I'm assuming that it is...
Would it be Treasury?
Treasury.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So
unfortunately,
Josh.
Treasury has misrepresented this whole thing. Because in the first instance, when the lower house had its inquiry, public submissions were called for, about, I don't know, 2,500, something like that, were submitted. Treasury wrote in their report back to the relevant minister that 90% of those submissions were from the one party, namely the Citizens Party. They don't get a lot of people because that was not the case at all. There were many groups and individuals who put in written submissions. There was not 90% from one source of submissions. So number one, Treasury misled the minister in an attempt to discredit the opposition to the bill. All right? Now, there's no grounding to ban cash. There really is no reason to do it other than the unstated reason as a pathway to enabling negative interest rates or unconventional monetary policy. You're familiar with that idea?
Somewhat. I'm not a financial
you take cash
expert
out of the
with all
system,
respect, Dave, but I'm
You take cash out
a
of...
psychologist by profession.
Right, but if you
Yes.
take cash out of the system,
Yes.
the banks
Yes.
can then implement negative interest rates,
Yes.
either small or significant,
Okay.
as an unconventional monetary policy. Right now, the RBA has set interest rates at what, 0.75%? Something like that. Can't go much lower, can it? Everyone's thinking, oh, zero is as low as it can go. Well, no, it's not. The IMF has written the white paper, Implementation of Unconventional Monetary Policy, which recommends and describes how to implement negative interest rates through central banks and other banks. And one of the prerequisites for implementing negative interest rates is to have a cash ban. So people say, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. No, it's not. It's actually been done around the world.
So someone has shown me the book. Is it Adele Ferguson?
I'm not sure what you're referring to there.
Like somebody at the most one of the recent mobile officers presented a book. A journalist has written somewhat about this.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't have that high opinion
you
of
don't
journalists, so I don't know how much credibility you can. You're right.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So my main point is, you're taking away our civil liberties for no good reason.
Well, I will voice your views. That's what I can do as your member of parliament. I assume you live in Reid.
I'm a Reid resident.
Excellent.
I live in
Excellent.
Lidcombe.
Lidcombe. Yep. Okay. And what side of the tracks? Because Lidcombe actually is torn. Am I actually your federal member?
Yes,
I am.
I'm on the north
okay,
side of the
we are.
tracks.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. I will have a look at your letter that was dated the 22nd of January.
Well, I'd also
and
recommend
make
reading
sure-
what I've given you in this paper as well. It's got far more detail as it's in
I
mine.
will have a look at this and I'll make representations on your behalf to the relevant minister. Okay?
One final point, if I may. Tomorrow is the final public hearing that the Senate's holding. It's in Sydney. Now, the report back to the Minister from the Senate inquiry is on the 7th of February. So people are asking, what's the point of tomorrow's public meeting? Because there's so little time between that meeting and when the report's due back.
I don't have.
Is it just for appearance?
I don't know, sir, because I'm not in the Senate. I'm not.
I know,
privy to that.
but I'm just bringing this to your attention.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's been a lower house inquiry with report, and now there's an upper house inquiry with report. You're probably familiar with that process.
Yes.
And along the way, people who've made submissions and talked about the cash ban in those public hearings and through public submissions, everyone's opposed it,
Yes.
other than maybe the Uniting Church. The Treasury, the RBA, the ATO could not come up with any data whatsoever to support the tax. No empirical data. When AUSTRAC was asked about it, how much more reporting are you going to have to manage? They had no idea. So what is the point of having public hearings where no one can produce any data? Those who are asked questions in authority can't answer the questions anyway and have to take them on notice. And they don't invite members of the public. It rather seems a bit silly, doesn't it?
I can assure you that I'm taking on what you're saying today, and I'll make sure that we get a letter response to you today, and I will also make sure that we write to the relevant minister as soon as possible.
Okay, well,
Okay.
I'm still unclear whether or not you support this idea.
At this point,
I know as a backbencher, it doesn't matter, is what you're saying.
I'm not directly responsible for this portfolio, so what I need to do is direct this information to the relevant
Yeah, but
minister.
your vote is part of it in the lower house to pass the bill, effectively, right? So in effect, you've supported the bill because you voted for it. You would have voted along party lines, surely. course. You can't not do that. I suspect because it's not a conscience vote. So you have supported the bill and you don't know why. So I don't know what's in the bill, but I'm supporting it. That sort of has echoes of someone else, doesn't
Well,
it?
I think there is an understanding, and I appreciate you vocalising that you said before that you said that there was no correlation between the cash ban and a black market economy. Do we have research on
Yes,
this?
it's in that particular document that I've given you from the...
references to
There is,
that?
yep.
Okay.
So I think in places like Spain, for instance, or European countries where cash ban limits have been put in place, it doesn't
Are
stop...
they equivalent in terms
Yes, they're €2,000 or something of that nature. Now, we've got a $10,000 limit to start with, which that's not indexed, by the way. So over time, that value will diminish.
Yeah.
And the value of my $10,000 will go down.
Yeah.
If I wanted to buy a driveway for $12,000, I can't use cash. I can't negotiate with the vendor or vendors who might do earthworks or lay concrete or whatever it is they're doing for $12,000 to negotiate a discount for cash. I have to use the bank. What happens if I've debanked? You know what debanking is? It's where the bank decides they don't want to have a relationship with you as a customer. And that's happened with gun shops, tobacco shops. Bendigo Bank and the Bank of Queensland are two examples of where they've cancelled or denied service to customers because of the business that they're in.
So getting back to the research on this,
Well, it's a danger you need to be aware of, debanking, okay?
So regarding the correlation between cash ban and no reduction in black economy, which is what you're saying.
USA doesn't have a cash ban and it's got a fairly small black economy.
So, but the research around this, you're saying that there's been research in Spain?
Well, it's not Spain, it's research which points out that there's no correlation between having a cash ban and controlling the black market, or black economy, I should say. Black economy being cash payments to avoid tax.
So is there any research at all, controlled research,
there
where
is.
it's been trialled?
I
that's
suggest that you'd read this, yes.
All right, I'll have a look at that.
And there's
then.
plenty of good information elsewhere that's been published on this, but it's an IMF direct.
Feel free to forward information as you like. I'm very happy to read information as you put forward.
Right.
Thank you for raising the issue again, as you have on Facebook, I understand, and also through a written letter on the 22nd of January. And I'll make sure that that's responded to.
Okay.
And feel free to come past and talk to me about this issue.
Right, so in the meantime, I thank you for listening. I've done a lot of talking, I realise that. But part of that is to perhaps try and inform you of what's going on.
I just want to be conscious of that there are other constituents.
So thank you for your time, I very much appreciate that. And as you know, you have been filmed.
It's fine, thank you.
And I make an undertaking again not to put your image on.
I appreciate that.
But I'll be standing here for the rest of your visit, just silently and respectfully putting my point of view
You are
across.
free to do that in this country.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, David.
All right. There you have it. A bit of a rant perhaps, but nonetheless an attempt, however good or bad, to provide some education to the local member who seems to not know much about this particular bill and its potential impacts. I'll remain here today on the corner of Park Avenue and Burwood Roads, Burwood, silently just with my Corflute sign pointing out the cash ban to making people more aware of it.